and welcome to the workshop at the Concord Free Public Library. My name is Christy and I'm here today to show you how to safely operate the workshop's tufting gun. Let's start with the safety notes. Hang in there, this will be a long one. Our tufting gun is a power tool and has moving parts that may catch on loose objects or materials. To prevent serious injury, be sure to remove any loose jewelry or scarves and to tie back long hair if possible. Turn the gun off whenever you aren't actively using it and unplug it completely before threading the tip or attempting any mechanical adjustments. While the tip of the tufting gun may appear relatively blunt, it's propelled with enough power that it could still cause serious injury. Never point the tufting gun at a person, including yourself. While not required, you may want to wear some form of eye protection when operating the tool. The tufting gun can release small bits of yarn and fabric into the air, which can be inhaled into your lungs, so be sure to work in a well-ventilated area. If possible, we recommend wearing a mask or respirator while using this tool. The tufting gun is heavy and requires a fair amount of arm strength to operate, so be sure to take plenty of breaks, especially if you're new to tufting. Finally, due to the safety measures, space, and time it takes to complete a tufting project, we don't allow use of the tufting gun in the workshop during regular open maker hours. This means you'll need to have your own safety plan in place in case of any injury. And a quick reminder, this is an expert maker's tool, which means each and every maker operating the machine will need to complete a safety waiver before use. Minors under the age of 18 will need a parent or guardian to help them complete this form, which you can do entirely online at cfpl.info/waiver. In addition to this video, makers should take time to review the manufacturer's complete instructions and safety advisories before use, available at cfpl.info/tuftingmanual. Now let's take a look at materials. Tufting guns use a motor to rapidly push either loops or shortcuts of yarn through a stretchy, loose woven cloth called tufting cloth to create a rug-like texture on the opposite side of the fabric. Because they're held in place only by tension, once tufted, designs must be set with adhesive before being removed from the frame. This video will cover the basic setup and operations of the tufting gun and tufting frame included in the workshop's circulating kit. But before you begin your first project, you'll need to do some additional reading and pick up some supplies not included in our circulating kit, including tufting cloth, yarn cones, tufting adhesive, and backing cloth. To help get you started, you'll find a 200-page print guide to the entire tufting process in the workshop's tufting kit that includes step-by-step, full-color instructions, recommendations for sourcing supplies, and a variety of beginner-friendly tufting projects. Okay, let's get making. Start by anchoring the tufting frame to a table using the provided C-clamps. Keep in mind that both the clamps and the plywood frame have the potential to damage sensitive surfaces, so don't attach the tufting frame to any piece of furniture you'd be sorry to see scratched up. With the grooved side of the frame facing out, line the frame up with the edge of the table and use the C-clamps to attach each of the far ends of the frame to the tabletop. Now it's time to attach your fabric to the frame. Cut a piece of tufting cloth a bit larger than the size of the frame and line it up over the top of the frame, leaving at least a few inches of margin on each side. Slot the provided plastic spikes into the grooves in the frame, pinning the fabric in place. Do your best to keep the horizontal weave of the fabric parallel to the top and bottom of the frame. Now move to the bottom of the frame. Stretch the fabric as tightly as you can across the frame and use more plastic spikes to secure it in place. Again, watch to make sure that the horizontal lines of the fabric weave stay straight and in line with the edges of the frame. This will prevent warping in your final design. Repeat this process on the left and right sides of the frame. For best results, your stretched fabric should be firm to the touch, like a drum. Now that we've assembled the frame, let's take a look at the tufting gun itself. The workshop's tufting gun has two modes, cut pile tufting and loop pile tufting. As the name implies, cut pile tufting cuts the yarn as it's pushed through the fabric, while loop pile tufting leaves the yarn in one continuous piece, creating a looped texture. How do you tell which mode the tufting gun is in? This little metal bar controls the closure of the scissors on the tufting gun and is aptly named the scissor closer. To set the tufting gun to loop pile mode, the scissor closer should be positioned as far forward as possible so that the scissors do not close on the yarn while the machine runs. To set the tufting gun to cut pile mode, it should be positioned so that the end of the scissor closer lines up with the start of the tufting gun foot. To adjust the scissor closer's position, double check that the tufting gun is powered off and not plugged in. Use the Allen key included in the kit to loosen the scissor closer screw just a few turns. Move the bar to the desired location, then re-secure the screw with the Allen key. You might notice that I adjusted the scissor closer all the way back into the gun in this clip. This won't work. I'm intentionally adjusting the scissor closer too far back to illustrate what a jammed machine looks like. Whenever you make an adjustment to the tufting gun, it's important to check your work before reconnecting it to power. Gently turn the large gear at the bottom of the gun. If the gear catches at any point in its rotation, you may have moved the scissor closer too far back, preventing the scissors from fully extending and creating a jam. Turn the gear back the opposite direction, then try adjusting the scissor closer again. Repeat this process until the gun runs smoothly. Now it's time to thread the tufting gun. Slot the provided dowels into the bracket on the left-hand side of the frame. These are designed to hold yarn cones. While not technically required, yarn cones provide the lowest resistance, most consistent feed of yarn to the tufting gun. Typically, you'll thread the tufting gun with 2 matching cones of yarn, but in this video, I'll demonstrate using 1 black and 1 white yarn cone. Place the yarn cones on the dowels and run the loose ends of yarn up through the corresponding metal loops at the top of the bracket. Now thread both lines of yarn through the guide on the left side of the tufting gun. Using the wire threader included in the workshop's tufting kit, pull both lines of yarn down through the hole in the needle at the front of the gun. Once the gun is fully threaded, you can plug it in and use the power switch on the side of the gun to turn it on. Holding the gun with 2 hands, push the needle firmly into your tufting cloth and press the trigger to begin tufting. You'll need to apply consistent pressure to the machine as you work. This can be tiring, so be sure to take breaks, especially during longer projects. There are a number of possible techniques for tufting, but one of the simplest is to create shapes by repeatedly tufting parallel vertical lines in your tufting cloth. If you have the machine set to loop pile mode, your yarn will still be in one continuous piece, so you'll need to carefully pull just the tip of the needle out of the fabric and trim the yarn before moving the gun to start a new column. If you have the machine set to cut pile mode, the yarn will be automatically trimmed when you release the trigger, so you can simply lift the gun out of the fabric, reinsert it, and tuft another column. Congratulations, you're now an expert maker. If you want to learn more about everything our tufting gun can do, visit cfpl.info/tuftingmanual or watch more tutorials directly from the manufacturer at cfpl.info/tufttutorials. The workshop is made possible by the generous support of the Concord Free Public Library Corporation, a nonprofit organization supported by makers like you. Learn more about all the corporation does to make our library awesome and how you can help at cfplcorp.org. And if you just can't get enough making, be sure to check out the workshop's full library of maker tools at cfpl.info/workshop.